Hello tomatoes! I am starting a new series called Tonks where I talk about the tanks. I wouldn't go so far to call it a review because I'm just not good enough at a game to understand funny mechanics and spotting and blah 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 blah. However, I am going to talk a little about the history of the tank as well. But this is what I can Google. If you want to start a rant about how I'm wrong in the comments, go ahead, have fun. I probably shouldn't have said that, I actually read the comments. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about your IS-2, your Cromwell B and your Rudy because they're currently on sale. The IS-2 is a Russian heavy tank. It is the successor to your KV series of tanks. The KV1 was slower than the T-34 enough to cause problems, and it wasn't much better armed. This led to it losing armour to make it faster, becoming KV1S, followed by expansion of the turret ring, allowing a turret that could fit an 85mm gun based off the one in the Su-85. This was only a stopgap measure and soon made obsolete by your production of the IS-85 tank. Later on, the IS-85 was renamed to the IS-1. In 1943, your USSR wanted to upgun many of their IS-1 tanks, as the T-34 could now hold an 85mm gun. After experimenting with 100mm and 122mm naval guns, your 122mm was picked because of your better HE performance. Both the guns could penetrate the front of a Panther tank, but the 100mm could only do so at short range and required the hand of Stalin to arise from a grave and guide a shot. Due to a problem of Stalin still being alive at this time, they decided to go with the 122mm, making the first IS-2 tanks. The 85mm were stripped from their IS-1s and put into T-34s. Much like your Cromwell, your IS-2 is borderline OP in the game. It is as fast as some of your slower medium tanks and can even bounce shots from some tier 9 heavies if you reverse side scrape. However, more importantly, it's very fun to play. I would recommend this over the IS-6 only because of your free crew skills you get with it. You don't need to swap out for brothers in arms, and the IS is a very strong tier 7 heavy tank, possibly on par with your T-29. While your gun does a lot of damage, it's not good at aiming, but if you're going up your Russian heavy line, you know this already. And you should have a replay about now. I start the game by going to a heavy line, as most heavy tanks would. I take a shot at a passing enemy suicide scout. I end up missing because Russian gun. I try to take a shot at a passing mod 1, again miss, Russian. I try to be a heavy tank and that just doesn't end well for me. I try trading shots with a lot of the enemy heavy tanks and I do eventually get some sense into me and run away. I take a snapshot at mod 1 here who angles in just the wrong way. What I think is an IS-6 just bounced off the side of my turret. However, at the time I had no idea I was even hit. The IS-6 plants a shot into me, and after finally realising things are shooting at me, I back off. but this T-29 gets the kill first. I keep on driving round. I put a shot into the side of a Strad Panther. I take a few snapshots at his IS-2, mainly when he has his gun pointed at someone who's not me. That doesn't mean I get any damage done. The IS-6 from earlier finds me and plants another shot into me. About the same time your cap alarm goes off. I notice your E25 is right next to a cap, so I load a high explosive. The enemy Cromwell gets spotted in the cap. I stop and aim at him. Then he's spotted. I assume he's not moved, so I fire in his last spotted location. Artillery manages to defend themselves. I switch back to AP and try to hit the French heavy. I don't have a lot to shoot at, and because of Russian gun accuracy, I managed to hit him. So I move forward, try to hit him again, still have even less to shoot at. So of course it hits anyway. I then turn back to try to get some vengeance on this IS-6. I load EPCR because these things tend to bounce every shot I put into them. But if I knew I was going to have its rear, I would have just shot its AP. I then go off to find the last artillery, and this of course calls for more high explosive. I drive right past it, I put a shot in, it hits me because I failed to kill it. I survive and just wait there for my gun to reload. The Cromwell was first being drawn up as a Crusader left for war. It was based off your Churchill tank, and early models were armed with a 6-pounder gun. However, this was soon rebored to allow the firing of US 75mm rounds as found on a Sherman. Unlike the 17-pounder gun found on a Challenger at the time, your Cromwell could fire a respectable high explosive round. Your Cromwell's speed was limited because your suspension could not keep up. However, this does not seem to apply in the game. The Cromwell led to the design of other tanks, including your development of your Challenger and Avenger SPGs, your Excelsior, and of course the famous Comet. The Cromwell B appears to be modelled after a Mach 4 Cromwell, which was an upgunned Centaur with the Meteor engine installed. The Cromwell B appears to be modelled off a Cromwell that served in Normandy under a desert rats, or at least it bears your logo of the 7th Armoured Division on the tank. Another sign that leads me to think that is because of the US style star on your front, which was planted on most Allied vehicles due to fears of friendly fire from aircraft. The Cromwell B is a medium tank with light tank speed. Your gun is not too accurate, but it makes up for it with the number of shells it can put out. If this tank was any better, it would be OP. This replay is from when I was last on Hully's stream. I'll put a link somewhere. I quite often use the speed of the Cromwell to pretend to be a light tank. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I turn left here to go into an island and end up taking a shot from that AMX 1357. I try to go straight there, but I quickly realise I'll drown if I do that, so I go that way. And now with your counter reset, I go back up. The main difference of going up here compared to going up here in real light tank is that you don't get stuck as much in a real light tank because it's less heavy. I wait a while to get despotted before I start moving up again. And after unstucking myself, I go spotting. I decide against taking shots and go back into cover. And go back to spotting things once I'm despotted. I don't want to stick around because that will get me hit by arty. I can't get off the island because I'll get shot at too much, so I end up taking a few shots at wherever I can.
Penetration. Enemy armor is damaged.
I bounce a shot from what I think's that AMX 1357, and then the tiger hits me. I pull back so he can't shoot me anymore and try to get a killing shot on this FCM and don't get it. I aim at your light tank, it just shot me and miss because I pull back so I don't get hit myself. I try to get your tiger again, hit the tracks. I aim this time and then bounce. I then aim at the side of his turret, miss and get your commander's hatch instead. I then wait to get despotted and then check that there's nothing coming behind us. And there isn't anything. I aim at the Hellcat and then put a shot into it. I manage to put a second shot into it and it dies before I can put a third. I decide to go after a tiger. I aim at your roof to minimise the chances of me hitting a friendly FCM. There's a lot of people who are probably saying don't take that shot, you'll probably hit your own tank, but it's such a small caliber gun I don't think it would matter, and I don't anyway, so. I mean, if I was playing an IS-2 I would never take that shot, or KV2 or something that might actually hurt the opponent. The AMX shoots me without getting spotted. I try running into cover. I wait to get despotted, which is about 10 seconds. I try taking a shot at that AMX and go hiding again because that's got an autoloader. I don't. I decide to go risk it and go back to mainland. Now, your Cromwell wasn't designed to go underwater. It was a case of it jumping a canal that Lindy Page talked about, which probably calls for another link to be putting on your video somewhere. I go following this FCM50T because I'm not sure what to do at this point in the game. I never am. At some point, Hurley does tell me to go camp and just sit here and don't move. I'm surprised we don't get, well, maybe it's version 1s, but we don't get amphibious vehicles. We're getting things like your M4 improved and the new Panzer III, but not your Sherman duplex drive or your Berling tank. Arty, shoot it. So I go charging in, guns blazing, and this is where your accuracy comes into play, or rather lack of it. This is fine if you're up close, but in this case your rapid firing makes up for it. I managed to steal your kill from your French tank, and now it's just a lot of waiting. I think what won us the game here was at Type 59 using its OP powers of pinning heavy tanks from the side. Managed to distract the other team long enough for us to cap first. I try taking some shots at your GW Tiger B. I think I've actually been team killed by these things more than you've killed me. And the gun pretends to be Russian and hits the artillery. Try putting a few blind shots in, hope for the best. The AMX puts a shot into me, does damage, and we don't lose any cap points. This is the first time a bug has worked in my favour. The Rudy is a Russian medium tank. It is based off your T-3485 from a Polish TV show. The T-34 entered service to replace your BT series of tanks and the T-26. This is one of your earliest examples of sloped armour and allowed the tank to be both heavily armoured and quick. Having a similar gun selection to a KV-1 and being much faster, it put pressure on KV-1 developers when they noticed this thing could go to the other side of your map and cap without ever needing to see a KV-1. Early models of your T-34 tanks only gave commander tanks radios, meaning that your crew inside of many tanks had to get out of your tank and yell noob once they died instead of screaming it over the radio. With the introduction of your Panther and Tiger to the Eastern Front, USSR needed a bigger gun. One solution to this, and to put it on a T-34 chassis, became known as the Su-85. After expanding the turret ring, this allowed your T-34 turrets to hold 85mm guns. There's reports of T-34-85 and Su-100s being seen used in aiming as recently as 2015. However, I am unsure if these are for museum pieces or actually being used as tanks. The T-34 led to development of the T-44, which was armed with a 120mm gun. However, only 20,000 T-44s were made compared to 80,000 T-34s, which is a factor of 10 of difference. There's an extra zero in it. I do not like your Rudy in game. The aiming circle is accurate. but it's not fast and it's not heavily armoured. And Cromwell is a better tank in every way because of that. Your gun just reloads a bit too slowly for my liking, so if I shoot and miss, I don't get to readjust my aim because it targets Winston cover. The alpha isn't much bigger in the Cromwell either, so unlike your IS-2 where you might one-shot lower tier tanks, you're not going to get that, unfortunately. However, some people love it, and to each their own. And now for my least favourite premium tank, because going head first in a 6-1 was at least funny. I couldn't even get a game that was half decent in this, so I got a better player to do it for me. You may recognise the name from his own YouTube and Twitch. This is TC in your T3485 Rudy, taking what I think is scouting pass up the hill and through a valley. He is supported by a platoon mate in your regular T3485. He goes up here without seeing a heavy tank. Then, well, almost. Then he tries to get some shots on the Skoda, decides not to go up that way and instead go round to get a better angle, possibly. Quickly finds a lot of tanks, does 170 to a Skoda, hangs around, puts another shot in, aims and hits your AMX, puts another shot into that AMX that's starting to learn its lesson. Then pulls back, reloads, goes forward and aims at your Rudy. I think his platoon mates got the enemy Rudy as well, doing a lot of damage. Our caravan driver strolls past, takes an 85mm shell to your weakest point of his armour, then takes a second shot to our less weak point of his armour. The OI points his gun at TC and narrowly misses. TC puts a shot into OI, hits, 3 aims from returning. So TC decides to dance for us here while he decides what to do. Well, really he's going behind him to see if anything's going to flank him, but that ruins a good joke. Okay, enough of that, I don't want to annoy him too much. He puts a shot into the Skoda, swings his turret around and makes his heavy tank a bit more upset. And the reload just stops him putting a second. TC then drives up to a ridgeline and starts sniping tanks from there. But if I remember correctly, your team kills many things before he gets a chance. You can see him fight the gun depression as he goes in to shoot the heavy tank, which I can't see because I can't get OBS to work properly. Well, TC goes in his rampage here. I think the problem is reading off and writing onto the same hard drive at the same time, because just increasing your bit rate over and over again isn't helping anymore. TC puts a shot into the side of this IS. TC then changes position to go after the AC-4 experimental. TC then tries to send this M6 back to the garage, but he doesn't quite get to the roll he needs. And for the sake of showing off, TC and ends the game on a handstand.